Hello everyone, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome to another video. This is the PS Does Book Reviews video series where I talk about the book that I've been recently reading. And the one that I just finished reading was this one, William Gibson's Zero History. It's the number 3 on the Blue Ant series. I have read the other two, I have them here as well. Number 2 was Spook Country, and number 1 was Pattern Recognition. All of them donated to me by different friends from different ways of life. The first one was Metrotonic. Second one is the Portuguese guy Pedro something, Axadec, I think. And the third one, Santa, gifted it to me. So yeah, pretty cool. Thank you for these gifts. I really enjoyed reading. I'm catching up with William Gibson's bibliography. I was a very big fan of the whole cyberpunk universe, so I decided to read the original books. I really liked him, so I kept reading other William Gibson stuff. I like his way of writing overall. I have some issues sometimes where I get lost in the middle of large sentences. I just drift away and I have to reread the sentence, which I sometimes don't like on some authors, and sometimes I just stop reading the book altogether when it happens too often. I prefer shorter sentences that are more action oriented in that way, so they are easier to follow. I do like descriptions of stuff as well, but it needs to be in not very abstract way for me to actually visualize what is happening and not just have a lot of adjectives about things. There's like more abstract, or I find it hard to attach emotions into something that I not completely understand, if that makes any sense. Anyways, small little thing. I do like William Gibson's writing style overall. That's the main point that I wanted to come across, even though some people sometimes say that it's a bit hard to get into. Comparing Zero History to Spook Country in particular, Spook Country had the 3 main characters or 3 main storylines, kept jumping between them, was a bit harder to follow. This one only has 2 characters, and they mostly go hand in hand geographically and in the timeline, so it's much easier to follow in that regard. If you're not like a binge reader that reads multiple chapters in a row, just read like one before bedtime or one while commuting or something like that. This one is a lot easier to follow than Spook Country. You do not need to read the other 2 books to get the gist out of this story, but they do have a lot of overlapping characters. The 2 main characters on this one, Hollis and Milgrim, were both from the previous book, Spook Country. They're directly derived from there. Pretty good characters overall. They were already interesting on the original Spook Country. On this one, they evolved a little bit. Mostly Milgrim. Milgrim evolved a little bit. He was a drug addict on the previous book, and now he's out of drugs or went into rehabilitation, and so he's somehow different, but you still see his original spirit in there as well. So it's one of the things that I like about William Gibson is the attention that he puts to the characters. They're all very unique. They have distinguishing characteristics, the way that they behave and stuff like that. So they really puts a lot of effort into character development or character definition, so that then he can run with them. And there were a few new characters here as well, a few recurring ones as well. It connects a lot to previous characters, not just from the second book, but from the first book as well. They go back to London, where the first book, mostly like half of it, took place, and there are a few good references there. Not just Blue Ant headquarters, but also some small electronic-related stores and things like that. So yeah, that was cool to have that connection back. It has a reference to a few other minor characters or smaller characters from the second book and the first book as well. There's even a spoiler that connects more majorly with the first book, which I'm not gonna talk about. And of course, it has Huberto's big end with all which is the main character behind the Blue Ant itself. I think it's the main piece that connects all of these 3 books and the trilogy itself. And it's still left like room for a 4th book in the series. It feels like you haven't heard all of the story of Blue Ant. There are still things to come at the end. But yeah, they have this bit of a crisis at Blue Ant. They're pivoting. They are, if you haven't read the previous books, they are this new company focused on marketing strategy and trying to go viral and understanding what's new, what's hip. And they do a lot of research, trying to find things that they are curious about, and they also try to hire talent that is good at scouting those kind of things. In this one in particular, the book goes more into industrial espionage sort of thing, so it's a thriller around that. There are some chasing, some cloak and dagger stuff in there, both psychologically and in terms of action. So well written in that regard. It's a good action thriller in that way. I do love a lot of smaller references to different worlds of our modern world. The whole reference to how marketing works and viral marketing, and trying to do something more subversive with marketing campaigns. I think that was pretty interesting. The fashion industry is also mentioned in a way, and subverting the concepts of fashion industry and how the industry itself is like cannibalizing itself in a way. There's some very cool new characters as well. I particularly like the character of Fiona and her connection with the motorbikes. I read in the final lines that the Gibson actually has like a person of reference where he uses to contact to clarify or learn more about that specific thing, in this case motorbikes in particular. But he does that for multiple aspects of the book, which is good. If you're a professional writer, it makes sense that you do that kind of work. You have like a contact where you can, or a place where you can go and learn more about this specific thing so that you can portray it more accurately. Which can be a bit of a challenge when you are a writing novice like I am. I'm still an amateur in doing creative writing stuff, and one of the big tips that they say for people who are starting to write is to write about what they know, because they will be able to write it more accurately and more vividly and more passionately. So yeah, the more you know about the world, the better you'll be at writing about different things and fitting them together. So yeah, that makes complete sense. What else? I really like the Gibson's touch of always including some sort of new technology into the books. In this book in particular, he talked about locative art, how the main character had done this locative art research, which is a fancy word for virtual reality and augmented reality installations. On the previous work, on the previous book, she was doing some research on that, and that's how she got involved into the whole Blue Ant thing. This one, she has already completed that work, and she even has like a book on different stuff, and she talks about the book and what it's been like writing the book and sharing the book with other people and things like that. So it's cool that they go back to that, they complete that, they still mention the importance of locative art and the evolution that it had throughout the years in normal computer technology. But they also talk about other things regarding technology, encryption, GPS tracking, spy drones is one of the more interesting things that they added on this story in particular that was not mentioned on the previous ones. The concept of the forgettable t-shirt, a t-shirt that you wear and that the cameras will forget about you because you're wearing that specific t-shirt, is like something that was planted into the system of face recognition, that when you will see that, it's like a backdoor of a way that you can be safe. It's very interesting technology, both because it is possible to technically do that, but it doesn't really happen day to day. There are a lot of people who are actively looking into that. I remember when there were riots in Hong Kong, they had these special glasses that they would wear to trick face recognition cameras. They would see the key points of a famous actor. I'm not sure who he was anymore, if it was Keanu Reeves or something like that. It was a famous actor, and suddenly that famous actor was like everywhere in Hong Kong because everybody was using those 3D printed glasses. There are a few other techniques for doing that, like people with small projectors and projecting other people's face onto your own face. things like that, wearing masks, those kind of things, to try to trick the ever-increasing face recognition cameras that are everywhere in systems. They are becoming more and more prevalent for our safety. So it's cool that they touched into that world, and with some insider insight, and had some good references there. I like the book overall. I think it was a bit better. How do I compare with the other ones? So the first one was a lot more interesting. It was completely different from the rest. The second one had a lot of interesting characters. It was a bit harder to follow because he had so many characters. But in terms of the you trying to figure out what is happening, it was a lot more intense, which I kind of liked. So it was more thriller in that regard. This one still had a lot of mystery into it, and there was this nice conclusion in the end, which was also nice, although a bit like too fastly resolved, in my humble opinion. Could have been slightly more action-packed. But yeah, good read overall. Did enjoy it. Do recommend other people checking it, especially if you like thrillers, stuff about marketing, viral, new technologies. I think it's a very well piece, very good book to read. So yeah. Other than that, let me know in the comments below if you have read this book before, what you thought about it, what was your favorite character, and those kind of things. I particularly like the United States Federal Office, DCIS, however you call it, that they put up there. It was a bit forced, how it was forced into the whole story, but I did like the interaction that she had, mostly with Milgram, throughout the book, which made Milgram a very curious character. You could never really understand where his loyalty lied, and I think he himself had that problem throughout the narrative. Like, he himself did not really know what he was doing and what he was a part of and who he should be open with and what repercussions he would face if he would not. So yeah, I think that was well portrayed, and it gave an extra twist or open end to the story. Yeah, liked it overall, recommend it. Let me know what you think on the comments below. See you next video. Bye bye everybody, have a great day.